Let's talk about something that's probably crossed your mind, maybe while you were scrolling. Is your phone actually, rewiring your brain? I mean, you know the deal. You just pick up your phone to check one tiny little thing, and then you look up, and somehow a whole hour has just vanished. What is happening there? Or how about this one? You're waiting in line for a coffee, or maybe just sitting in a quiet room, and you get that itch, that almost physical need to fill the silence with your screen. Why does that feel so weird now, when it used to be just normal? Oh, and my personal favorite, the phantom buzz. You swear you felt it vibrate in your pocket. You pull out your phone, totally convinced you've got a message or a mention, and you're met with a completely blank screen. It's a reflex, right? But where does it come from? Okay, now this is the most important part of this whole thing. If any of this sounds familiar, if you feel a little bit guilty or like you just don't have enough willpower, I want you to just let that go. Seriously, this is not a personal failure. The truth is, it's not you. It's about really, really smart design bumping up against our own basic biology. These platforms are engineered to grab our attention, and they do it by tapping into one of the most powerful chemicals we have, dopamine. So, let's pull back the curtain and see what's actually going on in our brains. It all revolves around something called the dopamine loop, and understanding it is the whole key, because, well, it probably doesn't work the way you've been told it does. So, here's this huge misconception we've all heard, that dopamine is the pleasure chemical. But the real science tells a different story. It's not about pleasure so much as it's about motivation and anticipation. It's the chemical that says, go get that thing, it might be awesome. It's the wanting, not the having. So what triggers that dopamine spike? Well, three things in particular: something new, an unexpected reward, and of course, social validation, likes, comments, shares. And what does your phone serve up in a literally endless stream? Yup, novelty, rewards, and validation. It's the perfect recipe. And here's the real kicker. It's not just that there are rewards, it's that they're unpredictable. Think about a slot machine. It's so compelling because you never know if the next pull is the big jackpot. Your social media feed works on the exact same principle. The next swipe could be the funniest video you've seen all day, or it could be nothing. That powerful little word, maybe, is what keeps us pulling that digital lever. Okay, so our brains are getting hit with these constant, unpredictable little bursts of dopamine. What's the big deal? Well, over time, our brains do what they're built to do. They adapt. And just to put this in perspective, we're not talking about a few minutes here and there. For the average person, we're talking about several hours every single day. And your brain is incredibly efficient. It just recalibrates. It gets used to this fire hose of digital stimulation and says, okay, I guess this is the new normal. It creates a new baseline for what feels engaging. So what happens when that baseline shifts? Well, we start to see some side effects. Things that require deep, sustained focus, like reading a book, suddenly feel a lot harder. The quiet, slower pace of the real world can start to feel kind of boring. And then there's the constant comparison game on social media, or that low-level hum of anxiety from a phone that's always buzzing. But listen, this is not about doom and gloom. It's not about telling you to smash your phone. This is simply about building a little awareness. So I want to propose a small, super low-stakes micro-experiment. For just 24 hours, you're going to become a scientist observing your own mind. The rules are incredibly simple. For one day, that's it, just one day. No scrolling the moment you wake up. Then, no screens for the hour before you go to sleep. And finally, turn off all those notifications from apps that aren't, actually critical. That's it. That's the whole experiment. Now, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is simply to observe. There is no winning or losing here. You're not trying to be perfect. The only goal is to notice. What do you notice when you make this tiny change? You might notice some restlessness right away. You might feel that surprisingly strong pull to just check something. Maybe you'll notice your mood changes, or your focus feels different. Or you might even experience a moment of pure, uninterrupted boredom. All of that? That's fantastic data. Because here's the magic. The moment you become aware of the urge, you break the spell. You interrupt that automatic, unconscious loop of just checking and scrolling. Awareness creates this tiny little space between the impulse and the action. And inside that space, that's where you find choice. So once you have that awareness, once you've created that little bit of space, what do you do with it? What's the big takeaway here? I think this sums it up perfectly. Your phone isn't some evil device, but it is incredibly powerful. And the real point is that your attention, your focus, that's one of your most precious resources. And your brain deserves for you to be intentional about what you feed it. So I'll just leave you with this one question. It doesn't have to be some life-altering change. Maybe it's just putting on an album you love and actually listening to it. Maybe it's reading one chapter of a book. Or maybe it's just sitting in silence for 5 minutes without a screen. What's one intentional thing you're going to choose for your brain today?